Tonight on Business Live, Public Utilities Regulatory Commission announces an increase in electricity and water tariffs by 4.22% and 1.18% respectively. We are live with the business community on this. Also in this bulletin, Governor of the Bank of Ghana, Dr. Addison, gives indication of significant progress made by Ghana in passing first review of the International Monetary Fund program next month.
My expectation is that we would have a successful review. This will be a review of progress on the program. And if that review is very successful, it should help in terms of signaling progress in macroeconomic management and restoring confidence in our economy.
Plus, financial analyst Professor Williams Prepara is optimistic government has some liquidity and is on a path of economic recovery following announcement of the first coupon payment on bonds occasioned by the domestic debt exchange program next week.
This is very, very important and it's good news. It points to the fact that probably government is getting back some kind of liquidity also into the system to be able to meet its debts.
Details of these and many more shortly, please stay. Always a pleasure to have you on. I am Pius Kojobaka, and look now at our stories. Governor of the Bank of Ghana, Dr. Addison, has given indication of significant progress made by Ghana in passing the first review of the International Monetary Fund program next month. The governor disclosed this when he addressed the media on recent developments at the bank.
Hopefully the fund is coming into town again sometime in September to reassess. So my expectation is that we would have a successful review. This will be a review of progress on the program. And if that review is very successful, it should help in terms of signaling progress in macroeconomic management and restoring confidence in our economy. So that's my wish, and that's what I expect to happen over the next 6 months or so. I'm fairly confident, though, from the data that I have seen, that the first review will be successful.
Now, the Parliamentary Select Committee on Mines and Energy says its investigations into the deal between the Ghana National Petroleum Corporation and Gensa Energy Ghana Limited has revealed no irregularities. This follows claims by civil society groups, including Imani Africa and the African Center for Energy Policy, ASEP, that Ghana buys gas for $95.8 million and sells to Gensa for $43.5 million, accounting for a $1.5 billion financial loss to the state. But concluding its 11th month-long investigations, the Parliamentary Select Committee described the computation methods used by ASEP and Imani as faulty. Let's go on Zoom and speak to the Executive Director of the African Center for Energy Policy, ASEP, Ben Boache, for more on this. Ben, pleasure you could join me on Business Live. First off, your view on signing new gas deals. Unmute for me, Ben, if you can. All right, so there seems to be a challenge with Ben's line. We shall rectify that and, of course, bring him on stream to speak to us on the issue. And we do know that Parliament Select Committee, that is Mines Select Committee on Energy, basically is downplaying effects that indeed the deal signed between the Ghana National Petroleum Corporation and Gensa Energy is, there are some irregularities to that. And Benjamin Boache pretty soon will be speaking to us on that. We shall rectify that and speak to him on that. But let's touch on this story quickly. And government has kickstarted the process to pay first coupon on the new debt exchange program bonds maturing from today. Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta, in a tweet on social media, noted that instructions have gone out for some 2.4 billion cedis to be released to aid the payment. George Yafe has the rest of the story.
The payments will go to individuals and institutions that exchange their old bonds for the new ones under the domestic debt exchange program at the end of February this year. Joy Business understands that even though most of these bonds that were exchanged are maturing today, actual payment should start from tomorrow. This should mean that it could take about 2 days for these bondholders to have their monies hit their accounts. Therefore, starting the process today will ensure that everyone should be paid before the end of this week. We are also learning that another 5.4 million cedis has been advanced as coupon payments for persons that didn't participate in the domestic debt exchange program. The Finance Minister, Ken Ofriatta, in a tweet on social media handle X, maintained that the decision to kickstart the process demonstrates government's commitment and credibility of the domestic debt exchange program.
At Andrews University, Professor Williams Prepra is optimistic this would bring back confidence into the economy.
This particular situation is very important, and also bringing confidence back into the economy. This was based on the debt exchange program plan that government told the whole world that this is how we're going to go about it. So I was not expecting that government will have a plan in a way to default. This is something that they may have to make sure that it is paid on 27th and 28th as has been planned. It's an important feature of the whole structure of the debt exchange program. If something should happen, it may have an impact on the external debt, external creditors evaluations and the cocoa bond syndications and the rest. That is the discussion that are ongoing. So this is very, very important, and it's good news. It points to the fact that probably government is getting back some kind of liquidity also into the system to be able to meet its debts. And it may give an indication that probably the rating agencies may have to change their mind on the ratings given to Ghana, because once we start paying our debts locally, it gives a signal that we are in a little bit of a better position to be able to honor our debts.
Now, the Public Utilities Regulatory Commission has announced an increase in electricity and water tariffs by 4.22% and 1.18% respectively, effective 1st September. This comes on the back of a conclusion of a regulatory process for the quarterly adjustment of tariff by the PURC. The quarterly tariff review mechanism aims to track and incorporate changes in key factors used in determining natural gas, electricity, and water tariff. Let's share some excerpts of the statement issued by the PURC on that with you. And pretty soon we shall give you that statement on your screens, so you have a better appreciation of that. But let's quickly get onto Zoom and speak to Executive Secretary of the Food and Beverages Association. We shall also speak to him subsequently. But let's touch on this story. And the Ghana Investment Promotion Center says it will soon roll out new regulations that will enhance the capacity of local enterprises to facilitate and boost foreign direct investments in the country. According to the Chief Executive of GIPC, Yofi Grant, they will create an avenue for mobilizing and enhancing the resources and skills of Ghanaian diasporan community to invest in Ghana to accelerate economic growth. He was speaking at the second edition of the CEO's Breakfast Meeting in Accra with a specific focus on local content empowerment through partnerships. Here's more. The second edition of the 2023 CEO's Breakfast Meeting brought together both local and foreign investors to deliberate on how to empower and maximize local content participation in harnessing the country's resources through partnerships. Speaking to Joy Business on the sidelines of the event, CEO of the Ghana Investment Promotion Center, Yofi Grant, said they will soon roll out regulations to enhance the capacity of local businesses to propel foreign direct investments.
Ghana, significantly, is also minerals rich, resource rich. So we need to create the relationships that inure to our benefit. How do we partner with foreign direct investment and local enterprise to create a very conducive business environment that becomes, the toast of Africa? That is a question that we need to do, and that is what we are working with at GIPC. Conversations with the agencies, conversations with the private sector business ensures that we are coming out with new regulations that will facilitate foreign direct investment, that will partner consistently with local enterprise.
Making a speech during a panel discussion, President of AGI, Humphrey Enyimdake, stressed on the need for government to outline a clear objective of improving FDIs in the country.
Both countries' primary objective of the said FDI interventions. What is your game plan, or what is your goal for attraction of FDI? FDI is good, but it has come through evolution, through a period, and each FDI transaction is peculiar to a geographical location with a clear objective of the government. Is it for purposes of job creation, or is it for the purposes of technology transfer? And if in the said context, when we fast forward it to today's activities, these evolutions have perfected the best practices of FDI engagement.
The second edition of the 2023 CEO's Breakfast Meeting seeks to enhance the investment climate in Ghana for both Ghanaian and non-Ghanaian enterprises. Our government spent 63 billion cedis on decent work and sustainable economic growth in 2022. That's according to Ghana's 2022 Sustainable Development Goals, Budget and Expenditure Report. The report added that the Sustainable Development Goal 8 is the most invested goal among the 17 SDGs. There's more in this report.
The Ministry of Finance led the voluntary national review of the Sustainable Development Goals in tracking allocations and spending. In a bid to promote sustainable economic growth and employment for all, the government budgeted 63 billion cedis for SDG 8 against an actual expenditure of 55 billion cedis. A breakdown of the report showed that about 564.6 million cedis was invested in micro, small and medium-scale enterprises through the Ghana Enterprises Agency. The Microfinance and Small Loans Center, MASLOC, also disbursed a total of 2.32 million cedis to 1,247 microcredit beneficiaries and 248,000 cedis to 13 small loans beneficiaries. An amount of 63 million cedis was also allocated to metropolitan, municipal and district assemblies, with the Volta, Central and Eastern regions being the regions with the highest allocations respectively. The report added an undisclosed amount from the 63 billion cedis was used to decongest the port of Tema and continuation of works on the Buankra Integrated Logistics Terminal. Additionally, 2 transit truck parks at Paga and Alubo were constructed.
More news this hour. The National Biosafety Authority has disclosed that plans are underway to outline guidelines for genome editing and stack genes in September this year. Speaking at a workshop for scientists on biotechnology, Chief Executive Officer of the authority, Isaac Okori, emphasized that his outfit is working assiduously to ensure that everything produced is safe to consume.
Open Forum on Agricultural Biotechnology Ghana organized a workshop to educate scientists in other fields on genetically modified organisms. Chief Executive Officer of the National Biosafety Authority, Eric Okorie, has been updating the scientists on the progress of regulatory activities on biotechnology in Ghana.
On the administrative side, we are coming out, in fact, in September, we are coming out with guidelines on genome editing. Now, GMOs is not the classical way where the gene is transferred from the donor to the recipient through the gene gun or the agrobacterium. It's the same organism, and the gene is edited in the organism. So how do we do that in Ghana? We have come out with guidelines on that. We have also come out with guidelines on stacked genes. If anybody wants to add gene on top of other, another one, we have come out with guidelines on that. So,
Director General of the Council for Scientific and Industrial Research, Professor Paul Bosu, indicated that farmers are highly expectant of the release of genetically modified organisms. According to him, they will continue to educate the public to help shape perception.
If you are spending so much money and spraying about 8 times chemicals. Remember, these are chemicals on crops, and you can significantly reduce that and then also get your yield, cut down the losses by as much as 80%. So honestly, the farmers, they are waiting for the final release. It's education, public awareness. If people come to understand, if people come to know why we are doing it, they come to understand the science, the very basic science of it, and they realize, they come to understand that, oh, after all, this is simple. GMO or biotechnology is something that we have lived with over the years. Then they would come to appreciate it. The other one is time. Time will tell if these things, that the GMO, the biotechnology, manipulated crops are bad or they are evil.
The pod borer-resistant cowpea has been approved by the National Biosafety Authority, but it's yet to be released for mass production and commercialization.
You're still watching Business Live here on the Joy News channel. Time for a breather. We'll be right back with more. Hello, welcome back. This is Business Life with me, Pius Kojo Baka. Let's continue with the rest of our stories. And the Public Utilities Regulatory Commission has announced an increase in electricity and water tariffs by 4.22% and 1.18% respectively, effective 1st September. This comes on the back of a conclusion of regulatory process for the quarterly adjustment of tariff by the PURC, and the quarterly tariff review mechanism aims to track and incorporate changes in key factors used in determining natural gas, electricity, and water tariff. Let's go live on the telephones and speak to the Executive Secretary of the Food and Beverages Association, Samuel Lagre, on that. Samuel, pleasure you could join me on Business Live. I'm pretty sure you've seen the statement issued by the PURC. Your initial comments.
Okay, good evening to your listeners. I think what I have before me, if it's anything to go by, I think for the first time the PURC has really considered the industry at hand, and announcing the increment. This will not affect the industry as such, but then the domestic users. So electricity, as they are saying, is going up by 4.22% for domestic users, and then for water it's also going up by 1.18%. With this increase, I would have wished they have gone ahead to make an announcement of categorical downward trend for industry, so that at least we can see that industry can also benefit from this. But nonetheless, there has not been any increase yet, and if it will go that way, then I think it will be a positive sign for doing business within the industrial sector.
Good to know you are happy, and clearly it has to translate consumer purchases, right? Are we likely to see some effect to that effect?
With the current norm, I don't think there's going to be any reduction in any consumer pattern, and especially for businesses or manufacturers to reduce their prices in that order. But what will happen is that within the electricity setup, energy will be stable for them to be able to use. Even being stable at what we are paying for now is still expensive to deal with. So we would have wished government come up with the PURC for them to reconsider announcing some package for industry, because where we are is still expensive for industrial use. And if we are to move forward with this, looking at having a lower tariff for industry and also for domestic use, then we have to seriously consider an alternate energy production unit, like if thermal or whatever energy system that will come into place. so that we ensure that production in this area will be lower. Because if we compare ourselves to other countries, Ghana is very high, and therefore we cannot continue to grow industry in this manner.
On the bit about the industrial use, do you intend to, make some recommendations to PURC to that effect?
I will continue making our voices until perhaps they come up with a cheaper cost for industry, because going down the way they have done today, it means that if we are asking for industry to go down in terms of consumption, utility tariffs, then what will happen is that domestic will then have to go up for industry to also go down. But we really have to look at it, because I don't see how we can produce power, export power at a cheaper cost, and then internally we are consuming at a higher cost. So they need to do something about it. This is not much, but we hope that in future they will reconsider what they have given to industry for them to be able to produce at a cheaper cost, as I said earlier.
Very well. Thank you very much, Samuel Agri, for your thoughts this evening on the back of the increase in water and electricity tariffs. Let's shift focus now. And the Microfinance and Small Loan Center, MASLOC, has explained that the closure of the Boku MASLOC office is due to the insecurity situation in the district. According to the center, it did not take the decision to deny the people of Boku of its services. The following report has more.
MASLOC, in the press release responding to what it describes as misinformation in circulation on various social media platforms, said the temporary closure of the Boku district office was solely based on security issues and not an attempt to deny the people of its service. According to the center, the issues being circulated on social media contain some inaccuracy and do not represent the full fact. MASLOC assured the general public and its stakeholders that the primary reason for its decision to temporarily close its zonal office in Boku was due to the insecurities at Boku, which made the office non-functional. Providing some more insight, the statement said other governmental and business entities operating in the business commercial towns such as GCB, ADB, Absa Bank, SNET, and other judicial service have been compelled to relocate to other parts of the Upper East region and some to the offices of the Regional Coordinating Council in order to protect the lives of their employees. The center added that following the concerns, it was decided to transfer the staff to the regional office in Bogotanga so they could continue working while management considered a long-term intervention to ensure that the staff could return to their jobs without fear of harm.
Thanks so much for watching Business Life with me, Pius Kojo Bakat. There will be great stories when you log on to myjoyonline.com/business. I live with some international business. Bye.